Hello, thank you for choosing to watch this video. This is the third in a series that talks about the model work in the Gerry Anderson TV series Thunderbirds, and specifically the technique that Derek Meddings' visual effects team came up with as an efficient way to bring a never-before-seen level of reality to the futuristic worlds featured in the show. Kit bashing is where you take parts from a commercially available plastic kit and use them in a different way to detail a new model. The Meddings team extended this to adapting toys and household objects for their needs. Kit bashing and sci-fi model making is an art, and the key is to add detail adds a level of believability that you feel without drawing attention to the parts themselves. One of the kits that was used extensively was the girder bridge, made by Airfix as one of their railway accessory kits, and there was a small series of these. After the discovery of the girder bridge, I set about finding what other kits might be available. We know that the individual cross-sections of the girder bridge were about 2 inches, so with that in mind, we can verify the approximate size of everything else that appears on screen, and we can identify what kind of kit we're looking for. So another one of the kits is the footbridge, again by Airfix, and this shows up everywhere. There's 2 major facets to this kit. There's the crisscross girder work that forms the exterior of it, and then there's all the steps. Now, the girder work comes in angles and straight pieces. You see it all over the Sunprobe launch facility. You see bits of it inside the Hood's truck in Desperate Intruder. The mechanical arm on top of the crab logger that lifts the crew aboard is detailed with the crisscross panels from the bridge. The steps appear so many places. You can see them on the side of the crab logger, on the fire trucks, in the car park, in Moving Your Dead. Pretty much anywhere where there's a flat surface, these things are added just to give a bit of visual detail. Because they're steps, they catch the light and just create a bit of interest. The footbridge has some bigger girder work that are straight pieces, and I think this is what's used for the main housing of the giant Monte Bianco solar generator dish. I think that whole sort of red Gantry assembly is made out of parts of this kit, I think. Another kit that gets used a fair amount is the Signal Gantry, another Airfix railway kit. This gets quite a bit of mileage. It can be most easily identified in the movie Thunderbirds Are Go. It's used for the supports that hold up the chrome heat shield nose cone of the 0X, which incidentally also has lots of bits of the girder bridge on it as well. Another part that shows up are these sort of 3 signal lights on there, and these show up on the back of the Martian space probe as well. Another kit that's used a fair bit is the travelling crane. This has been repackaged, as most of these kits have been, by Dapol, and it's now called the Dockside Crane, which I think is kind of what it is. And again, this is another one that kind of has sort of 3 sort of aspects to it. There's the support stand or legs, these sort of N-shaped things that sits the train up on the rails. There's the rails itself that the thing sits in, and then there's the crane arm attached to the hut. There is the hut as well, although that doesn't get used. I think there's maybe a bit of the roof on the Sunprobe Gantry. The Sunprobe Gantry has all sorts of parts of the crane. A prominent place you can see it is on the antenna that sticks out of the bottom of Thunderbird 5. You can see bits of it on the Martian space probe where it holds up the rocket. The support legs, those sort of N-shaped leg pieces, these show up on quite a few buildings. In Thunderbirds Are Go, you get a really good look at a whole bunch of them when they launched the air-sea rescue planes to try and find the 0X. That building has a whole bunch of these just sort of plastered along the side of it. All of these things are in more places than I'm listing here, but some of the places you can see them. The rails are on the side of the road layer in Atlantic Inferno. Interestingly, I don't think they're on the version in End of the Road. They were added in the Atlantic Inferno version. And also, they show up on the KLA satellite in the episode Ricochet, and they must have had to go through a bit of trouble to kind of bend them around for that model, because they're flat and that thing's circular. So that's kind of interesting that they did that. The windmill kit is also part of this line, but the only place I can actually see it being used, I think, and I'm not sure, on the bottom of that tower on Thunderbird 5 is a panel from the windmill kit. So a lot of these railway kits were used kind of all around the bases and a lot of the vehicles. Another kit that got a lot of mileage is the Everything is Go kit. This was a Revell kit, and it sort of comes in two parts. It's an Atlas rocket with a Gemini capsule on top and a sort of launch pad. So you get a lot of gantry work and piping and railings and steps and platforms and all that sort of stuff in the gantry, and then you get a pretty good detailed model rocket that goes along with it. There's two of the rockets attached to the big missiles that are inside the transporter plane in the Cham Cham. You can see half of the rockets on the Martian space probe transporter, and that vehicle has bits of everything on it. And again, the gantry itself shows up all over the Sun probe launch tower, which incidentally is customized in the Terra New York City Empire State Building scenes. The Australian and the Sahara base that you see in the Mighty Atom uses it an awful lot. That also has lots of the footbridge and the girder bridge, and everything else goes. Any of these sort of big bases, you can find pretty much a piece of any of these kits kind of in there. Because I mean, it just looks so great. There's definitely a look. You can see something, you'll be out driving, you'll see a big refinery somewhere, and you're like, oh wow, that looks like something out of Thunderbirds. There is a core kind of look that they sort of made. Another kit that shows up a lot is the AFX SRM-1 Hovercraft. This was a 72nd scale kit of the first Hovercraft, and I think this came out in 64, 65, so right when Thunderbirds was being made. We had a Thunderbirds annual. It had stills from Thunderbirds Are Go in it, and there's a still inside Thunderbird 2's hangar, and on the ground in the hangar there's one of the sort of, I guess it's the steering part of the hovercraft, these kind of T-shaped pieces that are on either side of it, and those pieces, these sort of steering pieces, show up pretty much anywhere you would go looking for it, and you won't be disappointed as it shows up there, as does the central fan that shows up again on the reactor base. You can see it. It's also used in the plane in the Duchess assignment. It's at an air show. Another aircraft is able to land on top of it, and it has these three sort of fans in the top, and they're all part of the hovercraft kit. Also, you see the actual base of it, this oval-shaped piece. You see bits of it on the wall in the moving unit garage, and I think there's a bit of it on top of the crab logger. The fan is also on the top of the crab logger, and numerous sort of other places. Interestingly, those T-shaped steering pod shows up attached to Brains' clipboard in Subprobe when they're checking the pod contents. Another kit that's sort of less identifiable, made by Volmer, who did a lot of railway accessories, refinery, and I think another one called a triple storage tank, and they both feature these sort of big cylinders, kind of like oil canisters, big containers basically, and you can see them on the sort of repair stations that are around Thunderbird 2 in Terra New York City. You can see them there. Most prominently though, you can see some of them on the back of the Gray and Houseman explosives tractor, the bit that tilts up with the rockets that fire. All of those silver cylinders are some of these storage containers from this kit. There was another series of generic kits that AMT did. AMT, American company famous for making cars, and in addition to actually making individual cars, they did several sets that were kind of like garage and pit crew and repair shop kits, and some of them included just wheels and engine parts and exhausts, and basically anything that was chrome or could be chrome on a car kit was in these things. So all sorts of wheels and pipes and things. Basically anywhere you see something that's chrome in Thunderbirds, it's one of these AMT car accessory pieces, or indeed a piece from an actual car kit, because they did use a lot of AMT cars for the regular traffic that you see in Thunderbirds. A particular piece is there's a part of the Allison engine that shows up on the front of the elevator cars. There's a rail that came from this thing called a Silhouette that was a sort of sleek futuristic car that had a bubble top, and that appears sort of straight out of the box, painted up as a police car in a few episodes. And a couple of the pieces from that, there's a chrome sort of railing that you can see on the front of the Gray and Houseman explosives tractor. And then the dome itself, rumor has it, is the canopy on the elevator car. There's a lot of people who've done a lot of research. There used to be an excellent website called Eagle Transporter Forum, I think, and that had so much great information from people who'd really researched where all these kit parts came from. So some of what I'm telling you here is what I remember reading there, and a lot of it is what I just sort of figured out for myself as well. So that's sort of a handful of kits that between them really got used a lot to sort of detail out a lot of the bigger vehicles and locations. As I said, some regular vehicles were made just from car kits of the day. I'm going to do a separate video that talks about the secondary vehicles, like the crash tenders and ambulances, and also the aircraft. That's a whole thing. A lot of the secondary aircraft were kit bashed things. In the last few months putting these videos out, there's been a really good level of feedback from people and questions and engagement, and it's really appreciated. It's really nice to know that there's people out there who are getting something out of this stuff. They're fun to do, and certainly with this Thunderbirds model work, I'm trying to sort of document it as much as possible. Other people have, but I'm trying to condense what I've pulled together into these sort of short videos. But yeah, they do take time to do, and there's a level of research that has to go into them. So I recently signed up to a YouTube program which is called Membership, where you can basically pay money to the channel, and that obviously helps support it and helps things get done. And it starts at £2.99 a month. I'll create another post about it just to tell you a little bit more about what you get, and if you're interested, that would be great to have your support. But above everything, it's just really nice to just get feedback from people and know that what the work that is being shown on the channel is resonating with people and is appreciated. So thanks very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, if you did, please comment, subscribe, share with your friends. If you want to join the channel and help support more stuff like this getting done, that would be obviously super appreciated. But thanks very much for watching, and talk to you soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.